Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Homan delivers a strong message to Democrat mayors and governors who refuse to work with him and work under the bounds of our laws. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. Even though Trump won the election, we still need to protect our wealth with gold and other precious metals, but more on that later. Now, let's dive in.
Tom, I want to get your reaction to this story. Apparently, the roommate of the illegal immigrant accused of murdering Laken Riley testified yesterday that they took the humanitarian flight from New York City to Georgia before they killed Laken Riley. What's your reaction to that?
Look, he should have been arrested by ICE in New York City, but they're a sanctuary city. He should never be in the country. Under President Trump, he wouldn't have been here. He would have been waiting in Mexico under the Remain in Mexico program. But here's what I want. For all those mayors and governors who said they're going to push back on ICE to do this operation, I want you to listen to that tape of that young lady fighting for her life, fighting for her breath. She did not want to die, and she fought hard. Listen to it. Just don't say, okay, another one died. No, I want you to listen to the struggles, because that happens across this country almost every day by an illegal alien. So I want those sanctuary city people out there saying they're going to push back on ICE. Listen to that and tell me. I just said President Trump wants to take public safety threats off the street. That's a priority. As elected mayor, elected governor, are you telling me that you don't want public safety threats out of your communities? That is your number one responsibility, to protect your community. So smarten up and work with us.
Tom, real quickly, what happens to a mayor or a local police department chief that is under Democratic leadership that obstructs ICE in your federal agents that are helping get these deportations? What happens to them?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to help us, get the hell out of the way. We're going to do it. If I got to send twice the amount of resources to that city, that's what we're going to do. If they would give us access to the jail, that would mean less agents in the community. For them pushing back and not letting us in the jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves. Finally, I'll say this. They need to educate themselves. They need to review this. Title 8, United States Code 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line, because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
That's a warning from Tom Homan right there. Read it clear as day.
And that is a fantastic warning and something that needs to be done. For too long, we have just kept allowing this ridiculous ability of these sanctuary cities, which I think, in my opinion, are illegal. But you know what? I'm going to quote something that I think we all need to read a little bit more often. The U.S. Constitution. So, in Article 4, Relation of the States to each other, Section 2, Paragraph 2. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice and be found in another state shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. Translation: if someone flees another state after committing a crime there, they can be extradited and moved back to that state and then face justice. That is a good system, particularly when you have a bunch of different states. That is a fantastic idea for a legal code. Unfortunately, there's just one big problem. The man who killed Laken Riley, which, by the way, you saw in this little video here, and if you were paying attention, he had headphones on. What does that mean when you're in court and you have headphones? It either means you're really close to being deaf and should be using a sign language translator, or you speak a completely different language and you refuse to learn English, which is what this person, that's the nicest way I can deal with this person. That's the nicest way I can talk about this man. This person refused to learn English and then apparently was flown out of New York City to avoid any potential prosecution. As a matter of fact, this man has had a violent criminal history inside the United States after entering illegally, and Tom Homan was furthermore right when he was talking about some of the processes. Donald Trump had a policy called Remain in Mexico, which worked absolute wonders and really capped the amount of people that could illegally cross our border. Joe Biden got rid of that pretty much on day one, and the illegal immigration numbers didn't just skyrocket, they practically quadrupled. Hey y'all, I'm not exactly looking at retirement anytime soon, but my parents are, and friends of my parents are, and I'm sure either you or someone you know is looking at retirement and wondering, what do I do? How do I help prepare for this in this economy with this terrible president and with a vice president who basically coup d'etat him and is now looking to run for president herself? How do you protect against this? Well, simple. You go over to my friends at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have something called the Retirement Package Plan. This plan backs your wealth with gold and silver accounts. And furthermore, you will have direct access to these accounts. So you're not at the whims of Wall Street. You're not at the whims of inflation. You are in command of your own destiny. As a bonus, qualified applicants can receive up to $10,000 in free silver, plus a couple of other little goodies that they're going to package up for you, and you're going to be able to protect your wealth and your retirement. So go over to this link in the description below at colonialmetalsgroup.com or call this number 800-203-0422 and see how they can help you prepare for retirement today by backing your account with gold and silver. Don't delay your retirement, folks. Protect the money that you earned with Colonial Metals Group. They're here to help. And so, after removing all these good policies that kept unvetted people who we have no idea why they want to come to this country, we have no idea what their history is, we have no idea what they intend to do here in the United States. And by the way, little side note, you know that little conspiracy theory that the media all lambasted right-wing pundits for? Back when we were saying that it looks like, and we've just been hearing reports on this, it looks like Venezuela has opened up their jails and told them, just get out, go to America. Turns out that was 100% true. And those folks are now creating violent gangs in places like Aurora, Colorado, where they've taken over entire apartment complexes. Let's see, the Trends. I cannot pronounce it. But there's a gang that is now spread to now 16 different states, and I can believe every single one of those when I've seen it on a map. We have a massive illegal immigrant problem, and the Biden administration has just turned a blind eye to it. Compare that to what's going to happen with Tom Homan. Tom Homan has been an absolute bulldog, and in this case, he is laying out a plan where it's enough is enough. Trump is now assembling a team not just to fix governmental problems, but to fix Democrats' state and city problems and save them from themselves. Because they are acting outside of the law. He quoted one of them that if you are harboring illegal aliens, you are committing a felony, which is why places like New York City, when an illegal immigrant commits a felony, they go, okay, we'll process you, and hey, here's this little humanitarian flight going anywhere else. Take the flight. Well, what happened in this case is this human being decided to take one of those humanitarian flights, got dropped off in Georgia, and he had pretty much three options. You can go up to the Dalton area of North Georgia and hope that you can blend in with a whole bunch of other illegal migrant workers working on the carpet mills. Yes, this is a huge thing. You could go to Gainesville and or in that area and work in the chicken factories, because there's a lot of poultry producers in that region. Or you can take option number 3 and you can go to one of the sanctuary cities. Also, there's a couple in North Georgia, but the big one is Athens-Clarke County. Now, Athens-Clarke County is a third world country. Okay? Folks, Georgia voters, I hope you hear this. Athens-Clarke County is a third world country. I have driven around it. The roads are terrible. I have been to the UGA campus. It's quite literally the resort on the third world country. You fly to the resort, you take that nice little limo to get there, and you're going to be protected from the Lord of the Flies situation that's going on outside of the resort walls. And so, because it's also a sanctuary city, this human being winds up hanging around in Athens-Clarke County with nothing better to do than prey on young women who are trying to get a good education, like, for instance, Laken Riley, who was studying to be a nurse. He thought that, wow, you look good. I'm going to see what I can do with you. And she refused him. She fought tooth and nail for her life, and he bashed her skull in for it. That's the reality. That is what happens when we allow Democrat leadership to go full off the rails crazy and stop caring about an actual judicial process. He could have been detained in New York City and been given over to ICE. Okay? This could have happened at many other steps along the way. But because he chose his areas carefully, because he went to Democrat run cities, and the worst kind of Democrat run cities at that, he was able to eventually find his way into the state of Georgia, into another sanctuary area, which is, by the way, Athens, Clarke County, for another, just to drive the point home, is a third world country. That is what is happening on what should be the premier educational experience in the state of Georgia, and it ended in tragedy, and it keeps happening in that terrible area. Folks, that's just the reality of what happens when Democrats go off the rails. We need reform, and Tom Homan has a plan, and hopefully he's going to be able to work with whoever becomes Trump's attorney general, whether it's Matt Gaetz or someone else. We need another bulldog in that situation, because if Democrats aren't following the law as set by the Constitution, then folks, lawfare is going to be necessary. Some folks are going to call this retribution. I call this justice for American people and justice for Laken Riley. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politburo. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, and until then, y'all have a good one.